$167.5.
Let's go, bud. That's right.
Good ride.
That's right. Y'all seen that, right? Everybody seen that, right?
$167.5.
All right, so Terence Crawford weighs in. Canelo weighs in. They'll have the ceremonial weigh-in later on today. I don't know where y'all see this video, but it'll be in the afternoon. So the rehydration process is already started. Excuse me. Canelo looked good. Crawford looked really, really good. Look ripped up, look strong. And like I said before, just because a guy look a certain way, it don't mean they strong though. Let me tell you that right now. Just because a guy, you know, look big, don't mean he's slow, and look like he's strong, don't mean he's strong. So you got to understand the real process is how they rehydrate. But thumbs up the video, share, subscribe to the channel. That's the real thing about it. How they rehydrate. You know, Canelo 190 will Bud go to 170, 180. You know, this is where probably the speed will be won and lost at for Crawford. Will he come in 170, 175? Canelo by 185, 190. So, you know, the next day is gonna be the next. Where we at? So the next 30 what? The next 34 hours, right? Because we go from 12 to 12. Let's say they weighed in about 12 to 12, 24, 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. Yeah, about the next 34 hours. That's kind of where you're gonna know. You know, Canelo is gonna get bigger. I don't think Crawford is probably gonna get too much bigger, but we assume Crawford come in 64, 65. He came in at 167.5. You look at the difference between him and Jermell. Jermell had water weight on his waist. I think Jermell really didn't train and put the excuse me, I don't think he really put the fight. I don't really think he put the money into his body. I thought that he just moved up. Bud took a year to build his body. Shredded and look shredded. No water weight around the waist. He looked good. You know, Canelo look solid. Don't look too dehydrated. And people think, oh, Crawford bigger, longer arms, bigger guy. He looked bigger. Like I said, I've seen a lot of guys that look strong and ain't strong. They look big and they ain't strong. They look slow and they really fast. They look fast and they really slow. It's only time is going to be able to tell. The added weight does help you absorb punishment a lot better. Only guys I feel like don't absorb the punishment when they add the weight are guys that's like lankier and taller. You know what I'm saying? The lanky and tall guys, I mean, usually don't have the best chances because they have those long necks. You know, but the weight, adding the weight, usually you can take the abuse a little bit more. You know, and you rehydrating really big. When you get a guy that rehydrate high, when you younger, and like Benavidez can sustain that. He can lose it, cut it. I mean, gain it, cut it, lose it, gain it, cut it, whatever. And while Benavidez is young, he'll be able to take that abuse. When you get older, that's one of the reasons you can get old overnight is the rehydration process. Because the stress in your body, big, small, in that short period of time, that's the problem. Big, strong, you know, big, little, big. So how much weight Canelo put on, I think Canelo is not going to come in as heavy. Because, you know, and it's a bad thing when you start to conform to your opponent. So when you conform to what I mean by that, when If Canelo don't rehydrate as high as he used to, and he rehydrate lighter to a lighter weight because he worried about Crawford's speed, all right, you already worried. You kind of lost the mental edge there. I'm already making an adjustment based on my opponent. All right, that's a fact. You're already making an adjustment based on my opponent already. But guess what? At the end of the day, if I've been successful at 168 pounds doing what I've been doing, I feel comfortable. I shouldn't have to make that adjustment. You know what I'm saying? So really, me personally, if I'm him, I'm just gonna do what I usually do. As far as weight wise, I don't want to be worried about Crawford speed, Crawford leg. I want to be worried about Canelo. My plan would be come in there, run down on kid, guy that historically starts slow, show him no respect, run down on kid, and get him out and get him out there as quick as possible. Let him know I can hurt you. I'm jumping right on him. No Diddy, no Harvey Weinstein, no Kanye West, no Kevin Spacey. That's just my game plan. I'm not even letting him get going. I'm coming out hot as fish grease in Arkansas, in Little Rock, Arkansas, at a fish fry on Sunday afternoon after church. But Crawford do look good, but I'm not. I'm just doing me. If I'm Canelo, I'm coming to inflict pain. As far as and for Crawford, if he got speed and power, and that he could take the punch and that extra weight, he kind of one of them lanky, long neck niggas too. He could take the punch. It's gonna be interesting. If he take the punch early on and he able to administer punishment, could be a long night for Canelo. But honestly, this ain't the fight that people wanted. And for honestly, for Crawford, there ain't no more fights for people to want to see him. So Canelo's the only one that you can kind of create a demand for. They wasn't clamoring for Fondor. He wasn't a nobody. They wasn't clamoring for Duran Ennis. He was still building it up. They wasn't. Virgil Ortiz wasn't. So it wasn't nothing left. Wasn't nothing left to do. Whether Lara, whether Genovic, 60 is like that dead zone with your financial, with your cell phone service. But they both look good. I think the question at this point now, we're moving forward, how much will Canelo rehydrate? That's the $1 million question. How much will Canelo rehydrate? That's the question. How much will he rehydrate? Will they come in a lighter? Will they do the same thing? Will they come in even heavier? That's the question. And the question I think, for Crawford is, what would they rehydrate to? I don't think they can rehydrate a lot. I think he might come in 175. Maybe he may come in at 170. That's what I'm thinking. So Canelo don't look dry or look, dehydrated. But guess what? A lot of times y'all say these guys look like they had hard cuts and they come out and perform. So it's a good fight as far as, it look like size. And for Crawford, I mean, if he come out and he physically good, like I said, you see guys that look good and then they just lose it overnight. Him being damn near 38, and they lose it overnight. Same thing for Canelo. I think one people ain't thinking about, ain't talking about, and I'm the only one I feel like I brought this up, and I don't listen to everybody, is that what if the weight cut at 68 caught up to Canelo? What if Canelo had what if the weight cut caught up to him and it's time for him to move up in weight? Nobody's talking about that. What if the weight cut is caught up to Canelo? It's a great question. What if the weight cut is caught up to Canelo? Real talk. What if the weight cut is caught up to Canelo? What if he had a hard time cutting weight? What if he get old overnight? Somebody said he had a bad knee. We been knew he had a bad knee. That ain't nothing new. Canelo been struggling with knee problem. That's why Canelo stay active. Because the minute you have an injury and you stagnant, it starts to hurt. It started to hurt and get stiff. So the thing about him keeping his weight in check and constantly training, that put more longevity on the knee. Common sense would tell people is, oh, just stay off the knee. No, when you start staying off the knee, you know what I'm saying? That don't work that way. You want to keep it active. That's why you injure yourself. You know, you want to walk, you want to move around as much as possible. It's like leg day. You do leg day and you move around, but then the minute you get in the bed or you sit down in the chair and you start stiffening it up and locking up and cramping up, or it start to hurt, or the next morning you lay down and hurt because stagnant. That knee, you got to keep any injuries like that, ligaments, you got to keep them moving. You want to stay in warm climate, you want to keep it moving. So his activity is the key. Now, you like, why would he exploit a knee injury? Lateral movement, especially depending on what type of part of the knee it is. It's lateral movement. You make him pick them legs up. Canelo had knee problems for years. You make him go back and forth. You made him, make him, go side to side with that knee. You keep that knee. You keep him making lose that knee. Whether you pushing him back, whether you letting him come forward and you making him miss, whether you start stepping, you make him move that knee. Make that knee work. Make that knee work. But they both look good, honestly. So, like I said, just because a guy look bigger, look stronger, don't mean it's the case. It's like you got frosting flakes and you got flakes that's frosted. Yeah, the flakes that frosted look like frosting flakes, right? All right. But then you start eating them, they ain't the same. So I'm telling y'all going off aesthetics. Oh, he looked this way. One is a natural 68 pounder, and the other one is not a natural 68 pounder. And I think tomorrow night you will see that. That's my opinion on that. That's my opinion on that. But they done they homework. They put on weight for a year. They chiseled it. They worked it out. He did what Jamil didn't do. He put money into his body. They had a plan how they was gonna build that body up, maintain the speed. They tested his blood, how much protein, how many carbs, how much potassium he need. They had a plan. So now it's just trusting your conditioning. Can you move the same? And I think that's what got Jamil Charlo. Jamil Charlo couldn't move. I don't think Charlo came to lay down. I think Charlo, his body didn't perform like he thought it was gonna perform. He wasn't moving. I just really think his feet was insane. That wasn't Charlo. But hey, it is what it is. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications. Increase your chance, get notification. We go live or drop video. Appreciate y'all. Join the Patreon. Find me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, the whole nine. Appreciate the love, support, peace.